I mean, he said it. He said, look at all those, you're not seeing women and children a lot. You're seeing a lot of men coming over that are fighting age.
That's right.
Fit men coming over. And right away, as a commander-in-chief, he's thinking, that ain't good.
No, and that's what I'm looking at. I want you to think about this. Our United States Army active duty strength is, I think, about 500, 600,000. We have allowed in 5 to 7 million in the last 2.5 years, and to include now Chinese single military age males as well. So you're allowing some very bad people to get foot soldiers into this country, and you have to be very concerned.
But I'm comforted to know, Colonel, that our Homeland Security is keeping an eye on Catholics in their services,
or parents,
and parents at board meeting, at education, because we know that they are the domestic threat.
They are. But again, it comes back to what we talked about yesterday. Anything that is a threat to the ideological agenda, the religion of the left, that is their real enemy. They don't care about the people that are going to come in here that they could leverage for votes.
Man, this is so sick if that's true.
But it is true.
What you're saying is true. It's like when I read Horowitz, who said the number one problem with Christians especially and conservatives in general is that you think your enemy is like you. You think that they just think different and that they're trying to sort things out. Like here, Joe Rogan, his naive world is just like everybody's trying to work things out. The left isn't trying to work things out. They're actually trying to destroy you. You are trying to create a world where the two of you can figure out how to make it work, and their agenda actually is driven to hate you and destroy you. So you're not working with somebody that's actually a good faith partner in this.
No.
They have an agenda to take you out.
You know, is this mentality of come let us reason together. You cannot reason with a person like this. It's just the same when I was in the combat zone with my troops. I said, don't think like you. Think like your enemy. And that's why I would recommend to people to read Sun Tzu, The Art of War, because you've got to get inside the decision cycle of your opponent. They are telling you exactly who they are. They are doing exactly what they want to do, and then they're saying, you're just too cowardly enough to stand up and confront us. H.L. Richardson, who is a state senator from California, wrote an incredible book called Confrontational Politics. That's something that Christians should read.
Confrontational politics. Here we go. Get your pen out, folks. Confrontational Politics by H.L. Richardson. And what's the premise of his
The premise is
book?
that you are dealing with people that know you don't want to engage them. That look at what is happening right now. Everyone knows that the Biden administration is corrupt, but they don't care. They don't think you're going to do anything. They don't think that you're going to impeach Joe Biden. Now, when they were in charge, they impeached President Trump over a hoax. Twice. They impeached him over a phone call because they don't care.
And what an irony. I have to put a parentheses around. What an irony that they impeached him because he said, check out corruption with Hunter in Ukraine.
Yes.
Which is ironically what we're about to find out. It'll be Romania, Ukraine, China, corruption. Trump was actually right.
Yes. And that's why they impeached him. And think about this. They were going to impeach him before he even got into office. Maxine Waters out there leading chance, impeach 45. Over what? We'll find something to impeach him on. So you cannot sit here and say that we are going to reason
Maxine
with people
Waters.
that want to kill you and want to destroy you and want to destroy this country.
Do you, we've got 58 seconds left on this first segment. By the way, your podcast is accessible where?
It's accessible on YouTube, Rumble, Apple, and all of the other
Can they find it by looking up Colonel Alan West, or do they look up
Steadfast and Loyal?
Steadfast and Loyal?
Steadfast and Loyal.
You want to make sure that you get a hold of that. Are you doing that daily?
What we do is we tape on a full day and we drip segments out throughout the week.
Very good. And so we're going to be talking about the 5 or 6 pillars of the takeover of the United States. And if you look at this, it's a unified system of thought. Open borders, gender dysphoria, LGBTQ, same-sex marriage, environmentalism, DEI, Planned Parenthood, abortion. These are actually if you had the Apostles' Creed, this is the Apostles' Creed of the progressives. And you got to know it because they treat it like a religion. We'll be right back. You don't want to miss part 2.
Wall Now show will return right after this break.
Okay.
It's under the blood of the cross, and I'm fine, and they don't get it. But it's not just about that. It affects Christians alike. Romans 14:13, therefore, let us stop passing judgment on one another. Instead, make up your mind not to put any stumbling block or obstacle in the way of a brother or sister. So think about the things that you do sometimes, maybe in spite or out of frustration, that you may do that would cause stumbling from another believer. The way you act, the things you do. I know I have this conversation with my producer Neil all the time. A little too free-spirited. Wrestles with being an individual in his faith versus being an actual stumbling block. And that's going to be a concern of yours as well. That you don't want to be a cookie cut, you don't want to just do everything that everybody else does or anything like that. You have to hold on to your individuality, most certainly. But do it in a way that it isn't causing others to fall or to sin, to stumble. Because in doing that, you remove God from the equation. Now you're making it about the sin, or you're making it about the mistakes in people's lives. Then you're kind of giving them an excuse to do them more. And people struggle as it is. You know, a research came out recently, and this is one of those things that they've been going back and forth on and been studying for a long time, is how people react to visual stimulation or other types of stimulation that remind them of something. For instance, they've made note that if an athlete is watching a sports game, they have different responses than your average Jane or Joe. And they're a little more intense. However, everyone watching kind of puts themselves in a game. You ever wonder why, wow, how could so many people sit around watching a football game or a basketball game and they tend to say things like, oh, we won, or things like that, when they weren't playing at all? Well, the body, even though it's not playing, sees the action and almost puts itself in the action. That's why adrenaline can raise while watching a game. I'm sure if they had a bet or had money on the game, that kind of helps the cause as well. But physiologically, there's other stuff going on. And new studies coming out that when a smoker or an ex-smoker sees somebody smoke on camera, they're watching a film, they feel the urge and the desire to smoke as well. Now, as a believer, when you're doing certain things, you may be doing something that motivates someone else in a way that could be destructive in their life, causing them to stumble. And this puts extra weight on you understanding who you are, what you do, and how you are around others.